The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
Hello, this is TVWAN News. I'm Jasmine Irujak.
And I'm Rex Litter. Thanks for joining us.
In this edition, academic year announced, 30 million kina to rebuild critical infrastructure damaged, and new labor ward enhances care. The official dates for the 2025 academic year was released yesterday by the Education Secretary, Dr. Uke Kombra. These dates include the beginning and ending of the 4 terms holidays, national examinations, and public holidays.
Term 1 will begin for teachers, principals, and heads of all institutions on Monday, January 28, 2025, and students will resume classes on Monday, January 27, 2025. A notable change in this year's academic calendar includes a 2-week holiday in Term 3 for schools to participate in the country's 50th independence anniversary celebrations. According to Dr. Kombra, this change was requested by the government to ensure that the country's 50th Golden Jubilee Independence celebrations in September happen during school holidays so that there is no disturbance to the education of our children, and also so that our students and teachers have the opportunity to be part of the celebrations. Dr. Kombra said all provincial education advisors, principals, and heads of schools and institutions are advised to take heed of the important dates and to use them in planning for the school year while waiting for the education calendar to be printed and distributed nationwide. The Secretary wished all PEAs, principals, and heads of schools and institutions, teachers, and students a successful school year. Tracy Pa, TV1 News.
The government has reaffirmed its unwavering commitment to Papua New Guinea's educators by announcing substantial improvement to teachers' remuneration as the nation approaches its 50th independence anniversary in 2025. Prime Minister James Marape made this announcement yesterday at the University of Goroka's 28th graduation ceremony in Goroka, Eastern Highlands Province.
Speaking at the 28th graduation ceremony of the University of Goroka on Tuesday, Prime Minister James Marape said his vision for a stronger future driven by the empowerment of educators. Marape's address was a powerful reminder of the critical role educators play in nation building. As Papua New Guinea prepares to celebrate 50 years of independence, his message resonated with the graduating class and attendees alike, a call to action for the nation to uplift its teachers and, in doing so, secure a brighter future for all. The Prime Minister reflected on his tenure as Education Minister in 2008 and 2009, during which he pushed for teachers' pay to reflect their qualifications, a policy now being implemented by the Teaching Service Commission and the Department of Education.
The teachers have to embrace the next generation of leaders. The teachers have to embrace the next generation of leaders.
In a moment of inspiration, he emphasized the profound influence educators have on shaping the nation's future. Freddie Mo, TV1 News.
The government plans to pay full tuition fees for all students training to become teachers in the country in 2026 going forward. Prime Minister made this major announcement on Tuesday when addressing the University of Goroka graduates in Goroka.
Any grade 12 school leaver who chooses to become a teacher can rest assured that their tuition will be fully covered by the government in 2026 and beyond. Prime Minister James Marape made this announcement at the University of Goroka 28th graduation ceremony on Tuesday in Goroka. He says while the provincial governments, districts or other sponsors can assist with boarding and lodging, the full tuition cost will be borne by the government. This applies to those pursuing early childhood education, primary and secondary teaching, and even college and university lecturing.
In 2009, we started a journey of some of the reforms that is presently on foot in the education sector. One of them, something that is closer to my heart, was my instruction that teachers must be paid based on qualifications and not the position of the work or instruction.
The Prime Minister went on to outline key expectations for the teaching profession under the new reforms. He further reiterated that the government is committed to improving the welfare of teachers by increasing their pay and covering their school fees for those who choose to pursue teaching as a profession. However, he says with this commitment comes a responsibility. The Prime Minister clarified that the Teaching Service Commission will ensure that all teachers employed meet the highest ethical and professional standards. Those with questionable character, such as gamblers, habitual troublemakers, or those engaged in unethical practices influencing our children will not be considered. Freddie Mo, TVWAN News.
The government has allocated 30 million kina to the University of Goroka to rebuild critical infrastructure that was severely damaged by a devastating earthquake in 2022. The funding is part of the government's ongoing commitment to improve educational facilities across the country and ensure that Papua New Guinea's future educators are trained in a safe and conducive learning environment.
Speaking at the UOG graduation ceremony on Tuesday, Prime Minister James Marape highlighted the importance of the university as a national institution responsible for training teachers while emphasizing the urgency of restoring its damaged infrastructure. In doing so, the Prime Minister announced that the government has passed over 30 million kina for the University of Goroka to repair and complete infrastructure projects that were damaged or delayed due to the earthquake that struck the institution. The earthquake, which hit parts of the Eastern Islands province in 2022, caused significant damage to UOG's buildings, including student dormitories, lecture halls, and administration offices. Among the projects disrupted by the disaster is the construction of a 7-story building and a modern auditorium, both of which are critical for accommodating the growing student population. Marape clarified that these funds will help the university complete the 7-story building and the auditorium currently under construction. The government is committed to ensuring these buildings are completed and opened before mid-September this year as part of the nation's 50th independence anniversary celebrations. The Prime Minister also revealed that 10 million kina had already been issued to begin immediate repairs and restoration work. Freddie Mo, TVWAN News.
The Youth Resource Week, scheduled for February, is aimed at bringing together all youth engagement pathways of education, employment, entrepreneurship, and labor mobility through one platform. The campaign is a genuine example of private sector and government collaboration and is quickly gaining momentum, with over 3,000 youth registered to attend the first roadshow in Port Mosby.
February 10 to 15, the Youth Resource Week PNG will offer to over 5,000 youth seeking opportunities of networking, employment, education, and mentoring. Deputy Chief of Staff of the Prime Minister and National Executive Council Department, Walter Yangomina, emphasizes that this government is taking on the challenge of opening doors of opportunities and growth for the largest demography in Papua New Guinea, its youth.
Sometimes our youth feel that the conversations being had by government are not their conversations. We're trying to get front of that. When governments make decisions, they base it on statistics, on demographics, on what will impact, resources 1 year down the line, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And I think the Mara Barroso government has realized very early on that demographic will be the biggest influencer of the decision making we do now and into the future. So
Yangomina says the Prime Minister has assured the government's support for the Youth Resource Week as it is part of the Youth Mobilization Campaign, an activation platform that gives visibility to the national government's youth engagement strategy comprising of national census and youth pathway qualifications.
all these departments need to put themselves front and center of the biggest population in this country. And I think that's the message that we need to tweak. The narrative needs to change from a disillusioned population and what happened last year to a population, a conversation that, well, these are the opportunities, these are the questions you're asking, these are the answers you're looking for, and this is the platform that you can get those answers in one area, you know.
He emphasized that the engagement that needs to be had between the generation that will take on leadership now and into the future is happening.
Youth bracket will be front and center of that conversation, and things like the Youth Resource Week delivers the opportunity for them to have a voice, have some civic engagement, ensure that what they're asking, what they're after, how they want to converse is being heard.
All sectors of the economy will participate as stakeholders, with government and public sector leading a strong role of offerings, with 33 government departments and their agencies already confirmed. Maricela Kelaton, TVWAN News.
Furthermore, Yangomina emphasizes that Youth Resource Week will be the first significant national approach that could possibly be the catalyst for future youth engagements beyond the country's 50th independence anniversary.
In any youth engagement all over the world, or in any youth strategy all over the world, the first fundamental approach is to engage. And this week in February will be the first approach, and hopefully this is the catalyst for more youth resource weeks in the country leading up to the 50th anniversary and beyond.
This is TVWAN News. After the break, abuse of media freedom and Hasola to represent PNG.
This is a second day progress update for the works that has been carried out. We started 12 minutes shutting the plant, emptied the clarifier, exposed all the infrastructure, surface, internal, that needs to be repaired, did an inspection assessment, then handed over to the contractor with the engineer. Currently they're uplifting the rake structure, aligning it properly, and also they've removed the gearbox and the motor and the upper layer of the mechanical components of the faulty gearbox. And now they're in the process of removing the faulty gear. At the rate we are going, we expect to complete it by the end of January. Just appeal to the customers to bear with us. The services are still flowing, but not to the full extent because of the repair works to the faulty clarifier. But we're doing our best to ration water so everybody in the city gets some water during this time. And hopefully the work will be completed soon and will restore full service.
I can't believe that a simple vacation has led to me meeting the love of my life.
I get to live out my Italian romance dream.
I want to give this relationship a chance. I don't know where our future is going from here.
The prenup is something that I will not budge on.
Can I trust him? Did you had sex with another woman?
I don't remember.
90 Day Fiancé Love in Paradise. Tonight, 7:30 on TLC.
There's a lot I can't reveal yet, but here's one thing I can. You can't go it alone. You need to put together a team.
My Grandpa Max disappeared looking into this big alien conspiracy that's going on against Earth.
The knowledge to defeat Ben Tennyson. Tell me.
We're trying to find him so we can stop it.
You're all under arrest for impersonating officers of the law.
Catch Ben 10 Alien Force every Monday to Friday at 3:45 p.m. on HBO Family.
안전하게. 특별을 즐기며. 갈까요?
타고 가서 거기에 계신 분들 만나보면서 얘기도 듣고 한다고 했는데 좀 그 점도 되게 기대가 많이 됐어요.
안내자가 필히 대동을 해야 됩니다. 여기 처음 오셨나 보죠?
기다려.
실패해도 아름답고.
그냥 우리가 그렇게 그분들과 대화를 해 나가면서 그 안에 다 답이 있는 것 같았어.
Welcome back. Minister for Community Development and Religion is concerned about the abuse of media freedom in the country. He states this as the minister responsible for censorship function in PNG and is appealing to media to be responsible. The media plays a critical role in nation building, and its contribution to the development and progress of the nation is highly valued. However, recent instances of graphic content publication and inaccurate reporting have raised serious concerns. Minister for Community Development and Religion, Jason Peter, is troubled by the misuse of media freedom in the country. As the minister responsible for censorship function in PNG, he is appealing to the media fraternity to exercise greater care, sensitivity, and respect in their reporting. As the country prepares to celebrate 50 years of nationhood, he said it is imperative that the media refrains from consistently highlighting negative narratives about the country and is a time to foster unity, pride, optimism, not to amplify sensationalism. Ministers said to work together to promote a media landscape that is not only free but also fair, accurate, and responsible. The Metorea Health Center has opened its new labor ward, enhancing maternal and neonatal health care in the community. Developed in partnership with the NCD Provincial Health Authority, the Motukoita Assembly, and the Australian Government. The ward features modern medical technology and experienced staff to provide high-quality care for mothers and newborns.
The Metorea Health Center's new labor ward will bring enhanced maternal and neonatal health care to the community, especially the people of Motukoita. The new labor ward is set to play a critical role in supporting the already strained Port Mosby General Hospital services by reducing its overwhelming patient load. The project was made possible through the combined efforts of the NCD Provincial Health Authority, the Motukoita Assembly, and the Australian Government. The state-of-the-art ward features advanced medical equipment and a skilled team of healthcare professionals to ensure mothers and newborns receive top-tier care. Operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the facility aims to cater to pregnant women in need of timely and safe delivery services. Hanobara village resident Antonia Sioa became the first mother to deliver her baby in the new ward, giving birth to a healthy boy. The Motukoita Assembly played a pivotal role in realizing this project and addressing critical healthcare challenges in the region. This achievement underscores the importance of partnerships and leadership in addressing maternal and neonatal needs. As the facility continues to serve families 24/7, it reinforces a commitment to ensuring every mother and baby receives the best possible start in life. Karakido Jr., TV1 News.
Francis Gundu, acting conservation manager at Port Mosby Nature Park, during an exclusive interview of the successful breeding of the Rajiana bird of paradise, also emphasized the vital role of partnerships with the public, businesses, and government in supporting conservation programs. He highlighted the park's reliance on donated animals and the importance of educating local communities about the role and value of native species in the wild. Through initiatives like the Lukautin Bilas Belong You campaign, the park aims to equip rural communities with the knowledge to preserve both wildlife and cultural traditions. Gundu stressed that empowering locals with conservation awareness ensures a sustainable balance between cultural practices and species preservation.
The species they play in the wild, and it is way by having the locals having this knowledge, they will be able to, like we say, look out in Bilas and all this. We are talking about people in Port Moresby, but this campaign, I know as much as possible, the people in the village, they are the ones, they should know this information. And if the villagers or the local communities, they know this information, it will really become effective. They will, by knowing the importance of the animals and all this, they will look after their traditional costumes and all this. And that's where, the main objective will be achieved.
The Miss Pacific Islands Pageant 2025 is set to bring a dazzling celebration of culture, talent, and unity to Honiara Solomon Islands from February the 1st to the 8th. This year's event, themed Leadership in Diversity and Adversity, will host contestants from across the Pacific as they showcase their cultures and compete for the crown.
The festivities begin with the arrival of contestants, delegates, and supporters on January 30th and 31st. February 1 marks the launch of activities including a contestant briefing and the opening of the online voting for the People's Choice Award. Other notable events include a prayer service at St. Barnabas Cathedral, a courtesy visit from the Prime Minister's office and the National Referral Hospital, cultural excursions, and community engagements. Key highlights include the speech competition on February 6th, the float parade on February 7th, and the crowning night on February 8th. The pageant also welcomes reigning Miss Pacific Islands Moemoana Schwenke of Samoa, while Miss Solomon Islands Elsie Polosovai represents the host nation. Representing Papua New Guinea is Miss Bird of Paradise PNG May Hasola. Proud to carry her nation's legacy, Hasola expressed her excitement and gratitude, stating that it is a profound honor to represent Papua New Guinea at the Miss Pacific Islands pageant. She said this journey is an opportunity to showcase our culture, pride, and unity to the Pacific and beyond. Her participation is especially significant as it coincides with PNG's 50th independence anniversary. She states, "This milestone fills me with pride. I aim to embody the resilience and heritage of our nation on this regional platform." Hasola has called on her fellow Papua New Guineans for support both at home and in Honiara. Karakido Jr., TV1 News.
And now the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.2494 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was buying $0.2419, $0.3884 Australian dollars, €0.2275 and 37.94 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, cocoa, and copper closed higher, while coffee, copra, palm oil, and crude oil closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, ASX closed lower, and all ordinaries closed lower. TV1 News continues when we return. Stay with us.
It's Digicel Sound Money Million Kina Mania!
Say what?
Yes! Join Sell Money or make a Sell Money transaction of 5 kina or more to win your share in over 1 million kina cash and prizes. 3 cash prizes of 30,000 kina, 100 winners of 1,000 kina. There's Huawei 4G smartphones, 500 kina shopping vouchers, loads of daily prizes, and free one-talk bundles for new Sell Money customers. Dial star 888 hash to activate your Sell Money wallet or make a Sell Money transaction of 5 kina or more for your chance to win. Only with Sell Money, a product of Digicel.
This January, it's the rise of a new dawn filled with positivity, hope and inspiration. Behind the walls of this century-old palace-like mansion in Singapore lie secrets and legacies unknown to many. Unveil the mysteries of this time-worn treasure. Karikul Mahal, a silent witness. Once teetering on the edge of extinction, leopard sharks are returning to Indonesia's wild waters. Join marine biologist Nesha Achida and her team as she races against time to preserve the delicate balance of marine life in Rewilding Sharks. How do you get teenagers off their phones? Can they really cut down on their screen time? CNA puts 5 teams to the test. See what happens in No Screen, No Life? This January on CNA.
We're in a fairly dangerous place. We're gonna stick out so bad.
Piratas doesn't look real.
They produce more placer gold than the entire Yukon.
We are not welcome.
There's a lot there that can kill you.
Gold Rush Parker's Trail, Thursdays 8:30, part of the Summer of Gold.
I'm in the CIA. You ready?
No! No one could land that plane like I did. I am gonna have to get him out myself.
It's hard. Refuse to play, and you die. Dominic Toretto just went rogue. Cool.
That was not cool. No, it's not cool.
Perhaps you know me as the Dragon Warrior.
Oh, Master Shifu!
That's much worse.
I will become the world's greatest villain by destroying the world's greatest hero.
What is it you're holding? A cookie?
I'm gonna lead you right to her front door.
Hey.
Kung Fu Panda 4 premieres Tuesday, January 28th, 9 p.m. on HBO.
Welcome back. Turning abroad, there are calls for Queensland's new adult time laws to be expanded. After the alleged stabbing by the 13-year-old, the teenager has since been charged with attempted murder.
Monday evening, a 63-year-old woman, an employee of Coles, was allegedly stabbed by a 13-year-old boy at a shopping centre in Yamanto, which is a suburb of Ipswich, in what police will allege was an entirely random attack. Now, that boy was subdued with the assistance of the public a short time later and has since been taken into police custody. He's now been charged with attempted murder. Now, late last year, Queensland had a change of government for the first time in nearly a decade, with the Liberal National Party under David Crisafulli coming to power with a message of being tough on crime. And their signature policy was adult crime, adult time. Now, under that policy, which has since become legislation, minors can be sentenced to the same penalties as adults for certain offences, including things like murder, grievous bodily harm, serious assault, and some lesser charges as well, like burglary. Now, attempted murder is not on that list. So, knowing that this case has to go through court, if this young boy was convicted, those harsher penalties would not be available to the judge during sentencing. Now, Premier David Crisafulli was questioned about this yesterday and asked why attempted murder was not on the list of charges, given that there are some lesser offences on there. He said that this new legislation would undergo some changes in the coming months and years. Well, they didn't say expressly that he would seek to add attempted murder to the list when Parliament resumes here in Brisbane next month.
The government has unveiled a plan to improve the lives of the estimated 290,000 people in Australia who are autistic. It's hoped that the first ever national autism strategy will lead to meaningful change for a community that experience poorer employment and education outcomes.
There's no ordinary shipping container. It's a portable sensory room helping relax neurodivergent kids that need a refuge from busy places.
I was so proud to be part of this project. Cool lights on the ceiling.
Alexandra Helens is autistic. She helped design this space. She struggled to find ongoing work after she was made redundant from a job she thrived in.
I enjoy parts of the freelancing I'm doing now. But it doesn't play to my strengths as well. That constant churn, I think, just doesn't play well with my brain.
With autistic Australians 6 times more likely to be unemployed, that's a key focus of the National Autism Strategy launched today. It contains 22 commitments across 4 key areas: social inclusion, economic inclusion, diagnosis and support, and health. $42.3 million will fund projects including a new peer support program and reviews of existing initiatives.
These are not actions government have come up with. These are actions that autistic people themselves have said would make a difference. And that's what's so powerful about this strategy.
I've had a couple of cries this morning, I'm not going to lie, because it's a very big, very emotional day. I've been here for 20 years. We've often maybe provided advice and then that's never come back into something tangible.
In the past, some plans designed to improve the lives of people with disability have failed to deliver results. Many advocates have welcomed this blueprint, but some still have concerns.
I think the National Autism Strategy is a great list of things we should get to, but there are some really gaping holes of what we've missed, and those are specifically around education and housing.
Just chill out.
As well as better employment outcomes, Alexandra Helens wants attitudes to change.
An autistic person isn't a broken person. We aren't incorrect. We aren't doing it wrong. This is just another way of being a person.
Advice from one person, but a message for all.
Townsville has welcomed its largest cruise ship in history, heralding the start of a record cruise season for Northern Australia's largest city. It's being touted as a win for local tourism, but has sparked fresh calls to revitalise the struggling CBD.
Spectacle on the water's edge as the Queen Elizabeth sailed in. The 294-metre ship is the biggest to dock at the port of Townsville, bringing almost 2,000 tourists to the tropics.
It's a beautiful vibe next to the ocean, so that's always my favourite.
We actually came a year ago on the exact same date, but there was a typhoon.
We've never been here before, never been up in this area, so it's a great chance just to sort of see what's here.
The luxury liner's arrival made possible by a $250 million project to expand the port.
Sailing in today, we're so grateful for the work that's gone in to widen this channel to allow ships of this size to come in. It's a real honour.
Allowing Townsville to tap into a booming and lucrative cruise market.
Passengers, as they disembark, they head out on tours, they head out into our city and onto our strand. They spend money at dining and retail, spending just over $200 per passenger per day.
The Queen Elizabeth is one of 6 cruise ships that'll dock in Townsville this fortnight. All up, a record 28 vessels will visit this year, bringing more than 30,000 passengers to the city.
My ambition would be we'd be at 100,000 in 3 to 4 years' time, and then we should go on from there.
Local businesses are concerned about the state of the CBD and its impression on tourists.
They were a little surprised at the number of shop vacancies and the state of some of the buildings and the precinct here.
Other travellers had different priorities.
Being a Cowboys supporter, I had to visit the Cowboys Leagues Club.
Unions say the government's newly unveiled pay offer to rail workers is likely to be rejected when it goes to a vote. The government's still offering less than half what unions are demanding, and industrial action is set to continue tomorrow.
Action and uncertainty for commuters, the government has an offer it hopes could end it all.
An offer is being made to the Sydney Trains workforce, an offer that is a fair and reasonable one.
The government's offering 15% over 4 years. That includes a 1% superannuation increase and 1% found through cost savings, mostly by merging regional provider New South Wales Trains with Sydney Trains and making staff redundant.
I think the approximation from the government is about 103 jobs.
The jobs which are going to be sacrificed in relation to that will be regional jobs.
But the 15% is less than half the 32% that unions have been demanding, and the RTBU doesn't think its members will back the offer.
I would imagine very unlikely at this stage, but as I said, we haven't seen the detail yet.
While the government and unions have made some progress, it hasn't been enough to avert another 3 days of industrial action starting tomorrow. Train crews will drive 23 kilometres an hour slower than the speed limit, but only when that limit is 80 or higher.
We don't anticipate large impacts. Trains will be running slower, we have no doubt about that, but people will still be able to get from point A to point B.
We will no longer accept partial work from our staff. For staff that are coming to work, we expect them to undertake their normal duties, or they won't be coming to work and they won't be paid.
The government wants the offer put to a vote within the next few weeks.
Matilda's star Sam Kerr appeared at Kingston Crown Court in London for a pre-trial hearing and has been charged with causing a police officer harassment, alarm or distress under the UK's Public Order Act. Chelsea forward, Kerr is one of the top women's soccer players in the world and is Australia's all-time leading goal scorer. The charges relate to an incident that allegedly occurred in southwest London on January the 30th, 2023, involving a police officer who was responding to a complaint about a taxi fare. Her trial is scheduled to begin on February the 3rd. There has been a flurry of state election promises today as politicians travel to Western Australia trying to curry favour. Labor and the Nationals kept their focus on the regions while the Liberals turned their attention to rising anti-Septimism.
The promises came thick and fast. The Premier and Housing Minister starting the day in Broome, pledging to cut stamp duty for regional WA and establish a $25 million infrastructure support fund.
Building in regional Western Australia has its challenges. There are extra costs, and that's why we're creating this new special fund to assist get projects over the line.
The Nationals were in Herne Hill, promising to improve level crossing safety, including by amending the law.
To ensure that in Western Australia, all locomotives will be required to have flashing beacons.
The Liberals staying closer to the city, promising $250,000 for Jewish community security, as well as education on the Holocaust and anti-Semitism.
Roger Cook has been absent when it has come to the growing threats of anti-Semitism in Western Australia.
While the community hasn't always been happy with the Premier's language,
do you feel ignored by the government?
Not at all. Not at all.
We've worked closely with the Jewish community to make sure that we have the essential resourcing and policing in place to make people feel safe. And that's why in WA you haven't seen the cowardly acts that you see on the East Coast.
Those acts, like the firebombing of a synagogue, never far from mind.
Security is urgent and is needed, and there's a significant support for physical security, which in a sense it's the last ditch of defence. But education is by far the most important.
The environment also on the agenda.
Right, on 3, 1, 2, 3.
With the Greens hoping to push for policies to encourage the uptake of things like home batteries and electric appliances.
So we expect after this election that the Greens will hold the balance of power in the upper house. And we're going to be using this to negotiate with government outcomes like this.
Labor turned its attention to Perth's dwindling tree canopy, promising to double it by 2040, including by offering every West Australian $150 to buy and plant trees.
And that ends the news segment. Over to you, Rex.
Thanks, Jasmine.
After the break, netball teams step up and the Pacific Dutch Championship.
Open Nets.
Hey, do you know that Cell Money gives you twice the Digicel credits you recharge when you top up your phone with Cell Money?
Yes, I have the good news. So now I put 3 kina in my phone. I receive 6 kina credit.
Well, that's why now I like to top up 5 kina because I receive 10 kina. And then I use my credits to call, send text, or get data.
Let's go to a Digicel store or Cell Money agent today. Deposit money in your Cell Money wallet to top up and receive the double credit.
Dial *888# to do it all with Cell Money.
Cell Money, do it all with Cell Money.
This is a second day progress update for the works that has been carried out. We started 12 meters shutting the plant, emptied the clarifier, exposed all the infrastructure, surface, internal, that needs to be repaired, did an inspection assessment, then handed over to the contractor with the engineer. Currently they're uplifting the rake structure, aligning it properly, and also they've removed the gearbox and the motor and the upper layer of the mechanical components of the faulty gearbox, and now they're in the process of removing the faulty gear. At the rate we are going, we expect to complete it by the end of January. Just appeal to the customers to bear with us. The services are still flowing, but not to the full extent because of the repair works to the faulty clarifier. But we're doing our best to ration water so everybody in the city gets some water during this time. And hopefully the work will be completed soon and will restore full service.
Is it possible that these ancient stories that we have, are they identical to what we see with the modern-day UFO phenomenon? Time will tell, but the fact that we are investigating these things, this is something very exciting. I mean, my mind is blown.
Ancient aliens. Only on the History Channel.
Wow, tucked into our Asian takeout special.
What's up?
We got one chow yun fat with our young Wahlberg.
Free police!
And then,
Good morning, Charlie.
2 type rules roll sandwich.
Yummy.
Kung Fu style.
Perfect.
And then, Jet Li wrap with DMX sauce.
Why? Is that Kung Fu James Bond?
Wow, it's so full of flavor. Asian takeout. Sundays at 9 on Warner TV.
Welcome. In sports, teams are expected to step up again for the second leg of the 2024-2025 Port Mosby Private Companies Netball Competition after recording several forfeitures last weekend. The competition was off for the festive holidays and returned to action but got off to a slow start. However, President Julie Mai is expecting all the teams to take the courts this weekend, with the aim to keep their finals hopes alive.
While some teams are slowly getting back into the swing of things after the festive period, others are already serious and ramping up their campaign with 4 weeks left before the finals. With all competition rules and bylaws met and the team registrations all sorted, the main focus now is letting the last remaining games play out according to regulations, which is important to have a crack at the top 4 playoff. President Mai added that any breach of competition rules may result in forfeiture of points.
Anticipating all teams to
all be, all be geared up and then playing their best to be in the Final Fours. It's going to be tough because, as you can see, those who have turned up are serious about making it to the finals, and that's going to be the order of the next 4 games going before the finals. Yeah.
The president is excited to say that they are planning for a fanfare grand final this year to end the season on a high note, which is set for the 2nd of March.
If anybody don't abide by the rules, will be disqualified and will lose their points. And we don't want that to happen if you are amongst the top 4. Yeah. So we have a big grand final planned for the 2nd of March, and we are looking forward to that. Yeah.
The main objectives and purpose of the competition are to bring together workers from different private sectors to interact, network, and create a bond with each other by playing sports and keeping fit and healthy. Though the competition has been around for almost 30 years, its focus, vision, and mission are still the same today.
Most of us work with our colleagues, but we don't really interact with each other on a personal level. So through these sports, we are able to get to know each other more.
Terry Longwood, TVWAN Sports.
Fiji will host the 4th South Pacific Darts Championship for the very first time, to be held from January 20th to the 26th, with top players from across the region participating. This marks Fiji's 2nd international darts outing, with the first being a tri-nation event with New Zealand and Papua New Guinea way back in the 90s. Darts Fiji says the competition would be tough, as players with international experience would be part of the event. Defending champion, the Cook Islands, is expected to field a top-tier team with many of their players plying their trade in New Zealand. The Fiji Football Association is slowly beginning preparations for both their men's and women's teams across all grades in anticipation of a busy and exciting year.
Fiji's Football Association Chief Executive Officer Mohammed Yusuf confirms that training camps will start over the next few weeks as teams prepare for international tournaments, with some starting as early as March. Yusuf says the teams will participate in all tournaments organized by the Oceania Football Confederation, making Fiji the only Pacific island alongside New Zealand to commit to every competition. The Fiji Coolers will begin their campaign in early February in preparation for the Nations Cup and will hold 4 additional camps throughout the year leading up to the FIFA Women's World Cup 2027 Oceania qualifiers in November. The Bula Boys will compete in the semi-finals of the 2026 FIFA World Cup Oceania qualifiers in New Zealand on May 2. If they reach the final and win, they secure direct qualification for the FIFA World Cup. Meantime, in boosting its domestic competition, Fiji FA has taken a significant step towards enhancing the development of young footballers by launching grassroots goalkeeper training programs at its 3 academies in Ba, Labasa and Suva. This initiative, which commenced on Monday, aims to nurture aspiring goalkeepers and equip them with the technical and tactical skills required to excel at the higher levels of the game. This training is expected not only to identify promising talent, but also to strengthen the overall quality of goalkeepers in Fiji's domestic and national teams. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
Tigers keeper Api Korois, how he believes the energy of the club's star recruits, combined with a new approach from the coaching staff, can turn the 3-time wooden spooners into contenders again in 2025. The Tigers have the longest finals drought in the NRL, stretching back to 2011, and have finished last in the last 3 seasons. But an extensive recruitment drive has hopes high for a strong 2025 campaign.
Well,
the Tigers have brought in Jerome Luai, Sunia Turuva, Gerald Skelton, Royce Hunt, Jack Bird and Terrell May over the off-season. It means their starting team will look decidedly different this season, but Koroisau believes the impact the recruits will have on the rest of the squad will be just as important. Koroisau has always been more of a lead-by-his-actions type of captain, and he is relieved he will be able to stick to his strength in 2025. However, giving Koroisau the confidence the dark days are over at the Tigers is the number of young talents coming through the ranks at the club. After coming from the Panthers, who have the best breeding ground for talent in the NRL, Koroisau believes the Tigers are starting to reap the rewards of building a talent development system. The Tigers have undergone a lot of changes since Koroisau arrived at the club in 2023, most notably CEO Shane Richardson and coach Benji Marshall taking control of the team. Koroisau believes the entire playing squad are now accountable and performances on the field should lift as a result. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
And that wraps up the sports segment. Jasmine.
Thanks, Rex. And now the weather forecast. Regional forecast. Southern. Port Mosby mostly fine with possible few showers and thunderstorms. Daru partly cloudy with chances of few afternoon showers and possible thunderstorms. Momase, Ley mostly fine to partly cloudy in the afternoon. Medang, Wewak and Vanimo mostly fine. New Guinea Islands, Lorengau, KVN, Kokopo, Rabaul mostly fine. Kimbe mostly fine with brief evening showers and possible thunderstorms. Highlands, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Barnes, Kundiawa mostly fine, sunny. Mendi, Tari and Wabeg partly cloudy with few afternoon showers and possible thunderstorms. Ocean forecast. Coral Sea, sea smooth with southwest to northwest winds of 5 to 10 knots. Solomon Sea, sea slight with northwest to northerly winds of 5 to 15 knots. Bismarck Seas, sea smooth with northeast to southeast winds of 5 to 10 knots. Pacific Ocean, sea slight, moderate with northeast to easterly winds of 10 to 20 knots. And coastal waters forecast. Waters of Samaria Island to Cape Vogel and all Milne Bay Islands, and waters of Medang to Wewak to Vanimo and northern PNG Indonesian border. Sea 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, and waters of New Ireland to East and New Britain to Bougainville. Sea 0.5 to 1 meter. That wraps up the news tonight. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Ton, 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 hino, ton, ton.
Then you better drive one today.